Do you really believe that?
What?
That happened. In your mind, that's how it happened.
What do you mean? Of course it did. You were there. You were there doing it. Why would I make something like that up?
You know I wouldn't do that. How could I even do that? If you really see me that way, Gary, maybe this just isn't working. Goodbye, Gary.
She hangs up on me. I'm driving in silence. Every star I think I see trickles down my windshield. One of my high beams is flickering. I drive over a rock and the wires touch. It's on. I drive another 5 feet. It's off. Every so often it blinks in time with the rain, making a combination of sound I've never heard before. Wet splashes and hot fuses. This road is longer than I remember. But then again, last time I was here, my mother was behind the wheel. It's long and straight and boring. Nothing to look at. A small grassy ditch is nestled beside the asphalt. I stare at it and focus on the occasional rock, trash, dirt. Rock, trash, dirt. I round a corner. I see the glow of a lamppost I recognize. I'm knocking on the door. They've repainted it since the last time I was here. Sarah opens it. She's smiling. Her heavy makeup adds unnatural creases to her face. The droplets forming and falling off the porch light illuminate her like she's sunk to the bottom of an indoor pool.
Hey, Gary, how you doing?
I'm good, ma'am.
Please, call me Aunt Sarah.
All right. I'm inside. It's a very white and sterile living room. An open house or a hospital. The ceiling in this living room is a very high A-frame. I don't like that. Sarah is my mom's friend.
Thanks for stopping by on such short notice. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
No, of course, it's no problem. I'm between jobs right now, so it's no inconvenience or anything. I shouldn't have told her that. I hope my mom doesn't get mad that I told her that.
Oh, well, hey, you are your mother's son. I'm sure you'll hop right back on your feet in no time.
I look down at my feet. She's walking out of the room, so I don't have to respond to her. She's saying something down the hall, but by the time it reaches me, I can't make sense of it. She walks back in again, and she's holding him on her hip.
Now, he's really no trouble at all. Just stay in the room with him until bed. Give him a snack at...
She checks her phone.
8. And then it's just at 9, read him a story. Turn on the baby monitor. Keep an ear out. You're good to go.
I'm looking at him. He's smiling. His expression is glazed over and sweet. His drool makes me think of how I remember baby food smelling. Which one? I ask.
What do you mean?
Which story should I read him?
Oh, it doesn't really matter. He just likes the pictures and being talked to, of course. He's not near old enough to really know what the hell you're saying.
She makes herself laugh.
Just good for him to hear full sentences directed at him directly, that kind of stuff.
Okay. She's in a hurry. My question was stupid. I wasted her time.
So sorry to be heading out so quick, but I have to check into the hotel in just a couple of hours. I'll be back in the morning. He's so easy, I promise you. Call me if you have any questions at all.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Aunt Sarah, I told you. Aunt Sarah, gosh. So formal, Gary. Why always so formal?
I don't want to call her that.
All right, well, I'd better be off. Thank you so much, Gary. Please tell your mother I said hi, okay?
She hands him to me. Okay, I will.
Bye, Gary.
The door opens, then it's shut. She's swimming through the outside. Her car starts. It whirs off until it blends with the noise of the storm. It's just me and him in the house. Just me and him in the living room. I don't know how to hold him quite right. I can hear something like breath passing over a tube. I point my head up to follow it. It's just the fan above me, far above me, nestled into the full extension of the A-frame ceiling. I feel the harder I focus, the slower it moves, turning. Maybe the noise of the rain layered over it makes it sound a little different than I'm used to. I look down again. He's drooling on my shirt. I distance him from my body. I smell like baby food and plastic. He smells like plastic. I kneel and gently set him on the ground. The carpet feels nice, like a sheet fit over floorboards. It's new. He looks upset. I make a realization and hand him a toy that's out of his reach. A brightly colored rubber ball with haphazard geometric holes leading into its hollow center. He's happy. He smiles at me. There's no one around, so I don't have to do it back. I need to go to the bathroom to wash the spit off of me. I wonder if water would be enough or soap is needed. I remember where the bathroom is. I'm at the sink. I'm scrubbing. I'm trying to avoid looking in the mirror. I find a washcloth. It's far too decorative. I use toilet paper. It's coming apart in clumps on my shirt. White, clotting. I decide to put the water directly on my hand, then scrape with my fingernails. As I move my hand to wet it, I see myself in the mirror. I flex my face in an abrupt motion so I don't have to look at it anymore. I hold my shirt taut in one hand and scrape at it with the fingernails of the other. I really don't like what I saw in the mirror. Scraping. I can see flashes of it even as I tense my muscles to forget. Taut. I can feel my heart beating against my eye sockets. Scraping. Blips and blurry circles of the image I erased fill in the dead space behind my eyes. I see a skull melted like a rotten fruit, molded blemishes. Taut. Skin that fits over the skull like a latex mask, or one of the boy's playthings, the ball, rubber, geometric holes contorting under slobbering, wanting gums, plastic drool, holes, slobbering, plastic drool contorting, bleeding, scraping. It's me in the mirror, and I'm disgusting. She's doing it to me, and I don't want to. She loved me. She didn't know. I think she knew. I don't think she knew. I think she knew she loved me, but she didn't know. She could have. She couldn't have. Scraping. I don't want to think about that. I slice some living part of me open. I relax my muscles before I reach the climax of what feels like a heart attack. I look in the mirror. My shirt is soaking wet, and I've scrubbed a hole in it. My fingernails have cut me through my skin on the very surface layer, and I am very ugly underneath. I step outside the bathroom. He's gone. He's not on the floor. What? I look back up and I see him. He's on the kitchen counter, smiling at me and playing with his toy. How did you get up there? I think I say, but no one is around to confirm it for me. I pick him up and examine him. I don't really know why. I put him back down on the floor. He's giggling and drooling all over his ball. The strange plastic smell wafts through my sinuses. I turn. They've replaced the kitchen counter. Suddenly I'm very hungry. Sarah told me I could help myself to whatever was in the kitchen. I'd like to cook something. I think a familiar scent would help me right now. They have a massive pantry. It's filled with nothing but snacks, crackers, and cereals, chips, beef jerky, packages in bags. No ingredients. Pre-made household. I look behind me to make sure he isn't on the counter again. He's still on the floor, his back to me, banging the ball on the ground in a soft, sporadic motion. Bread in a clear wrapping. Toast. I will make toast. Opening the bread in this clean of a kitchen feels like something I shouldn't do. I do it. It's in the toaster now. My stomach pangs with anxiety. No, it doesn't. I'm just hungry. I'm just hungry and I'm fine. I remember being here as a child. I remember Sarah and my mother sitting on the couch, my mother telling Sarah a story about when I left the field in my second-grade soccer game to bring her a flower on the ground next to me. My sweet Gary. Of course, the entire team was so let down. Cost him the game. Ball went right past him. He just has that love in him, you know? Always looking for a place to share it. He's sweet like that. Little Gary. I didn't want them to know I was listening. My toast is done. It's burnt. It's black, and it cracks when I remove it. Everything smells worse now, but at least it's familiar. I'm so hungry. Somehow I bypass the texture, smell, and taste, and swallow it in what seems like one fluid gulp. Suddenly I feel grounded, present. I don't know if I like that right now, or if I need it. I look behind me to make sure he isn't on the counter. He's still on the floor, but now he's facing me. He seems to have pushed his ball out of his reach. He's just staring at me, not smiling, just looking at me. I thought I'd caught him staring, but he isn't hiding it. He's just doing it. I'm thinking about Sarah looking at me, and my mom looking at me, and her looking at me. Their faces tricking me for some reason. Layers upon layers of false emotion, insecurity, desire. I have to navigate to find some idea of intention underneath, like I'm some puny thing, a rat in a maze. He's looking at me, just looking at me. There's nothing over him, no veil, no maze, just a 3-inch hallway with a door off its hinges. He's just looking at me. Like I'm small. I'm hungry again. I go back into the pantry. I'm eating beef jerky. My teeth tear into it and I'm reminded of something. I remember working. I remember I had to tether some equipment to a truck using ratchet straps. I remember I was too scared to ask how to properly tie them off. Everyone already thought I was so incompetent. They came undone and rolled off along with the equipment they had up. I remember my coworkers laughing to each other about it. I'm embarrassed and my face tenses up again. No. Is it him? He's laughing at me. I hear him. I look. He's sitting on the carpet, clapping his stiff and loose hands, laughing at me. Does he? No. He thinks my face is some game, some peekaboo thing Sarah does for him. He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything he doesn't know. I wish I could remember being like him. Nothing to think of, no embarrassment or insecurity or worry, no maze, no burnt toast and ratchet straps, no. No, just innocent. But if I could remember it, would those memories stay untainted? No, they wouldn't. They'd be dirty just like the rest of them. I just know what happened. I just know I was like that once. That's how I get. An alarm goes off on my phone. Feed him. I forgot I put this alarm on my phone. I snooze it. I go to the pantry. There's a box marked for him. I grab him a jar with a picture of a carrot on it, along with a little spoon from the cabinet. I sit him in his high chair. I'm looking at the bottle, scooping it out. I look at him. Here comes the airplane, but I'm not feeding him. Why? I'm trying to. I feel my brain sending shockwaves to my nervous system, arm flexing, moving, but I don't see it happening in front of me. He's hungry. He wants food. I will try again. My arm is not moving. I feel it. I feel it moving, but it's like my mind and body are in two different places. One where I feel my arm traveling to feed him, and the one I'm seeing where he looks at me with anticipation. He's looking sad, longing. Please, please feed me. I can almost hear him calling out to me, piercing through the radio static of popping blood vessels in my ears as I strain everything in my body to bring this food to his lips. I'm so hungry. Sarah trusted you to do such a simple thing. Why can't you just feed me, please? It's right there. Why can't you do it, Gary? It's so fucking simple, Gary. Come on. I promise. I'm trying. Every muscle in my arm has rapids of blood flooding through it. Please, Gary. Everything in my arm contracting and shaking as if I was picking up the entire house by the floorboard beneath me. He's crying. I see him crying. Please just do this one thing to satisfy me. Can't you ever satisfy anyone in your entire fucking life, Gary? He's not saying that. I'm not feeding him. Something in a tendon pops like a balloon and I vomit. I manage to cover my mouth before it hits him directly, but splashes of it still dress his face and clothes. It gushes in chunks between the fingers I use to shield it. I look down. I see dozens of empty bottles of baby food. I've been moving in the mirror, feeding myself the entire time. I was so hungry. I'm so hungry. I clean the vomit off of him and myself with a decorative towel. I'll just buy Sarah a new one. I'll just get them a new one. He's still not clean. He's upset. I take him to the bathroom. I turn on the tub. It's too loud, but I have to bear it. There's baby wipes. I take off his vomit-covered clothes and clean him. I put him in the bath. It seems to soothe him. I'm so hungry. He's looking at me as if he's totally forgotten what just happened. A rubber duck floats from the bottom of the tub to the rising surface. He's overjoyed. He's forgiven me instantly. That's horrible. He shouldn't do that. If my mother knew. I'm starving. God, why does nothing satiate me? There are moist patches still damp from what my innards spewed, gluing my shirt to my torso. I smell like acid and plastic and baby food. I can feel the vomit trickle between the folds of my skin and into my self-inflicted wound I receive scrubbing my shirt. Burns and I feel cells dying, layers of skin that have never touched the air before being bitten off, like the acid's trying to force itself back into my intestines. It hurts, and I don't like it, but I let it. It hurts, and I don't like it, but it's my fault, and I let it. I need to. He's in the bathtub for a moment. I think he'll be fine. If I could step away for a moment, just a moment, it would be fine. I'm seeing rain fall into a ditch nestled next to an asphalt road full of trash, acid, burning. I'm not seeing that. My eyes are closed. Now they're open. He's fine. He's smiling. I turn off the tub. I exit the bathroom. He's not looking at me. He's fine. There's too many windows in the living room for what's about to happen. Windows on the door, windows to the back patio. My mother and Sarah on the back patio drinking wine. I'm on the floor before it had soft carpet when it was hard and cold and dirty, but that's not happening right now. Too many windows in here, somewhere else. The edges of my wound are eating themselves into little geometric holes leading into my hollow center. I go to the pantry and close the door. I'm alone. Oh my God, I left him alone. Sarah told me not to do that. I can't do anything too stupid, nothing definitive. He's in there alone. My stomach throbs on the in and outside. Hunger in, burning out. I topple onto the cool, hard floor. I smell crumbs of some cracker I remember my mom eating. I rip my shirt off over my head. My body is cooling. I hear myself weep and moan, but the echoes of the pantry make it sound like someone else. Someone far away. I look down and see my wound bubbling over, the acid dissipating, its damage done. The automatic light of the pantry goes off. I'm not in the pantry now. I'm just somewhere quiet. Somewhere with a floor that's smooth, cold, sterile. Somewhere endless. Operating table, christening table, age transplant, pantry floor. I feel crumbs sticking to my bare back. Every breath I take through my raw throat seems to shove my lungs further against my spine, gluing it, wearing on their ability to expand, molding me to the floor. I claw blunt lines into my shoulders, wringing myself. I want to rip every bit of fat off my body, to reveal some crayon etchings underneath my wallpaper. An intestine in my right side is melting. I want to rip it out of me, all of it. Everything I've ever thought, felt, every emotion, I want it out of me, somewhere I can see it. Out, 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 out. I begin to vomit. My body squeezes itself like a tin can. I convulse, sitting up. I aim it at my exposed wound. Sting, want, vomit. Sting, want, vomit. Melting, boiling, stinging. A pain an animal carcass rotting in a hole feels. If it feels this. I feel this. I react. My body inverts its position. My pelvis launches off the ground as if pulled. This force is strong enough to trigger the motion sensor of the pantry. Suddenly, I can see what I'm looking at. Textured bubbles of blood made opaque by what I assume is cauterizing fat. Tiny holes on tiny holes on tiny holes on tiny holes. Black and shiny brown, festering, boiling, baking, bubbling, melting, stinging, wanting, making new patterns and destroying them, creating and ending and eating past me one layer of marble meat at a time. I kick my legs around like an insect. I scream. I howl as best as my glue-trapped lungs allow me to, hoping to be loud enough to break some barrier for my mouth's vibrations to pass through my face and reach my ears, but it all bounces around me and stabs me from every other direction. My lips are chapped and burning from what they secrete. Acid trickles into my sockets and I see stars. See, Gary. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself again, Gary. I wouldn't do that to you, Gary, but I did do it. I'm Gary. I'm talking. I'm Gary. I never were. You never were. You're not. You're not sweet little Gary. Sweet little Gary wouldn't purge all that sweetness out of him like this. You're wringing him. You're wringing him like a decorative towel. Do you love me? Love me? You? Love you? Me? I relax my hips against the floor and feel the vomit drip down my body, but I don't stop it. It drenches my pants before it puddles in my pelvis and builds around the base of my shaft. Acid festering and dripping off my testicles and scrotum as I feel it creep its way through the narrow passage of my urethra. I have never experienced more pain than this in my entire life. See, Gary, you did it all to yourself. You did it all to yourself. I maintain control over my own facilities. I do not move. Do not move, Gary. Do not move. I move. The roadkill jumps and screams. I'm standing in the pantry, pissing out vomit, right onto the floor. I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up, Aunt Sarah. I'll clean it up. Yes, ma'am. Sarah's grabbing a snack off the top shelf I'm too short to reach. Sarah's grabbing my mom's favorite low-fat crackers. My mom is asking Sarah if it's okay for me to have the last pack of fruit snacks because I'm too scared to ask her myself. My girlfriend is staring at me with disdain from the back of the pantry, watching me piss blood and acid on the ground. I'll clean it up later, I yell at her. I'll clean it up. She doesn't believe me. Nothing but her eyes. She's watching fluid drip out of my exposed stomach lining. I'll clean it up, baby. I'll clean it up. She doesn't believe me. I can't see her. I can't see anything. The light went off again. I think she's proud of me. I wanted to prove that I was wrong and that it was my fault. She's proud of me for that. She's proud of me and she's just hiding it. She always does that. She always did that. Does that, do that. Hiding. I was so hungry. Noise. Other room. Baby's crying. Read him a story. I leave the pantry. I take the baby out of the bath. I dry the baby. I put clothes on the baby. I put the baby in his crib. The baby stares at me. His room has a low ceiling. A nightlight spins from it, casting letters and numbers over everything. A little bookshelf. I kneel over. I feel pus dribble out between strands of remaining flesh on my stomach. I search for a story. There's one with a character that looks a bit like me. I pick that one. The baby stares at me, wide-eyed, no expression. He looks at the book, then back at me. He's very still. He must be tired. The number 5 floats over his face. I open the book. The number 4 floats over the first page. I start reading. Gary was adored as a child, but he grew up and those old tricks just didn't work anymore. He tried and tried, but he just didn't look the same, and his thoughts got all jumbled up. He began to annoy everyone around him. He had to learn how to do things, how to cook and clean and work, and be alone. He didn't like it. Gary just wanted to make everyone around him feel very happy. Flip the page.
The number 3 graces across the ground. Gary met someone very nice. But Gary had to do things he didn't want to do again. She wanted Gary to do things. She got tired of Gary. She wanted Gary to do those old tricks he tried to forget and be a good boy. And Gary got all confused and messed it all up. Gary just fucking ruined everything. Gary did. Gary was so tired of being so grown up. He wanted to be small again. Not small in a grown-up way, but small in a way that grown-ups didn't get mad at you for. To be taken care of in a nice and honest way again. Gary did. 2 on my mouth, 1 on his face. I see his lip quivering under a passing E. I see his face tensing under a traveling A. I see his mouth scream under a moving T. Shut up, you stupid fucking putrid thing, shut up! An alarm goes off on my phone. Feed him. I forgot I snoozed it. He's wailing. Shut the fuck up. I'm hungry. I look back down at the book. It's just letters. It's nothing. It's just jumbles of letters, and I can't read it. Their meaning starts to expand. It all starts to expand, and I get it, and I know what I have to do. I read it, and I give it, and the book was never there. No. I don't want to. I have to. I want to. Teething. I pick up the baby. He's drooling, dribbling snot, and screaming like he's trying to push something out of him. I'm holding the baby. I raise him up into the air, and his head bumps the nightlight. He shrieks. I slowly lower him down closer to my face. He kicks and resists, as much as his feeble body will let him. He kicks my eye, my nose, my forehead, but my mechanical pace is unyielding. His foot reaches my mouth. I bite down. I feel his toothpick bones bow, crack, break, and puncture through the roof of my mouth. I swallow a chunk of him. Most of the toothpicks remain lodged, but some scrape down my esophagus. He howls. My pace is unyielding. I lower him. I bite again. His femurs are reluctant to snap in my mouth like live wood, but my jaw contracts nonetheless. I chip my canine, and as my teeth touch, I feel the toothpicks push through my mouth straight into my nasal cavity. Blood's clotting in my windpipe now. He's coughing little spurts of blood onto me. I lower him. This piece is harder to remove. I twist my head violently, trying to dislocate his pelvis from his torso. I pop tendons of beef jerky off his body. I lose several teeth to the meat. I cannot breathe. He's yelling and thrashing as much as what's left of him will allow. I lower him. I think I'm becoming him. I bite through his hands with ease. It's getting easier, like biting into butter into raw dough. I can feel blood overflowing from my sinuses into the space behind my eyes, and everything's tinted red, spotty. I lower him. His ribs fit perfectly between what's left of my teeth. He's crying. I puncture him, and the rush of air through the holes comes out my nose and is quite refreshing. My tongue wiggles up the inner part of his spine, and by the time it touches his heart, I can feel it beating. Thump, 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 thump. It tastes of iron. He's quiet. A zero passes over my face. I feel his heart slow to nothing. I grind his chest down to paste. His spine slithers down the back of my throat. Flakes of clumping spinal fluid nestle in my tonsils. You need them removed, my mother says. I lower his head by thin strands of barely grown hair. I unhinge my jaw. My gums reach some unnatural point of extension beyond my lips. After pushing through the sludge of his eyes, my teeth find foothold in his sockets. His head is engulfed in by my mouth. His face points out the same direction as mine. Bite. I can't. Bite. I can't bite anymore. My jaw won't move. I frantically move my tongue against the back of his scalp. I swallow my own spit, swallow blood, but I can no longer chew. His head is lodged inside mine. Oh, God. Oh, my God. I can't breathe. I can feel him looking around for help. His eyes are darting around looking for his mother, needing his mother, but he's forced to look where I do. I whip around all directions in some obligation to him to show him what's there, that nothing's there. I feel brain matter dribble down the back of my throat. I feel blood ooze out of my mouth and drip down onto my chest. I try to scream, but I can only hear it inside of me. I've muzzled myself. I slam my chin against the crib. Trying to force what's left of my teeth into making this digestible, or at least removable, but I can't. My face is swelling, lips overgrowing what's left of him. I feel everything under my skin falling down. I look down and see the baby's bones trying to pass through the wound in my stomach, trying to be born. I want to give birth to him, but I can't. I'm not capable of that, and he's dead. I'm sitting on the floor. I wanted to be the baby, but I'm further than ever. My mouth is almost grown enough to cover him. Gary? Gary, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God! Gary, what? What the fuck? No. 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 Gary wouldn't do that. Gary wouldn't do that. Sweet little Gary. How could Gary even do that? If you really see Gary that way, Gary, maybe this just isn't working. Goodbye, Gary. Goodbye, Gary. Goodbye.